Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Iowa Speedway. I'm Aaron Johnson with the Johnson iRacing Network, bringing you today's feature event, 35 Fast Laps from Iowa. This is the iRacing SK-Modified Series, the top split, the best of the best, the top drivers that were on the service at the time this race was offered. Let's have a look at the starting lineups. Starting 13th in car number 29, the GM Goodwrench Modified of David Wilson out of Redding, California. David will show up on your telemetry as car number 9. Starting 12th in car number 12, that's Dwayne Elliott out of Hiddenite, North Carolina. Dwayne racing the Carolinas Modified. Starting 11th in car number 10, it's the Red Bull Modified of Nicholas Barlow out of New York. In the 10th starting spot in car number 6, he'll show up on your screen as 33, but your telemetry as 6. That is Kyle Crane in the Ryko Modified, Kyle out of Cape Coral, Florida. Starting in the 9th spot, in the Craftsman Modified, car number 13, that is Christopher Terry out of Talladega, Alabama. Starting in the 8th spot, he's going to show up in car number 11. That's also a Red Bull Modified. This one, Justin Kreiner out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Starting 7th in car 00, he'll show up on your telemetry as car number 7. That is Aaron Johnson in the State Farm Tax Slayer Modified. Aaron out of Bailey, Colorado. Starting 6th in car number 104, he'll show up on your telemetry as car number 3. That is Greg Smith in the Simcrow Racing Modified out of Arrington, Tennessee. Starting 5th in car number 81, he'll show up on your telemetry as car number 5. That's the Barnes, Pools, and Stones Modified of Caleb Hall out of the Virginias. Starting in the 4th spot, he's going to show up on your telemetry as car number 8. He'll be racing car 32. That's the 32 Signs Modified of Preston Sparks out of Jacksonville, Florida. Starting 3rd, he'll show up on your telemetry as car number 4. On your screen, however, as car number 02. That is the Ryko Modified of Jay Jensen, Jay out of Browns Mills, New Jersey. On the front row outside, he's driving car number 67. He'll show up on your telemetry as car number 1. That is Timmy Holmes in the GTR Simulations Modified. Timmy out of the Carolinas. And on the pole in car number 54, he's going to show up on your telemetry as car number 2. That is Jackson Crowder, also in the GTR Simulations Modified. Jackson out of Greensboro, North Carolina. This track, very large for the SK mods. They tend to run flat out, foot to the floor. Drafting does come into play. The cars are going quick enough that the draft will make a difference. Pace car leading the field now down the back straightaway. Crowder on the pole, Timmy Holmes on his outside. It's the 54 and the 67 behind him. It's the 32 of Jensen. Sorry, the 02 of Jensen, the 32 of Sparks. Then behind them, Caleb Hall and Greg Smith with Aaron Johnson, Justin Kreiner making up row 4. Christopher Terry and Kyle Crane in row 5. Nicholas Barlow and Dwayne Elliott in 6. And David Wilson in 7. The pace car lights are off. When the pace car pulls in, we should be getting the green flag. Pace car is in, and Crowder hammers the throttle. It is Jackson Crowder leading the field to the stripe. To begin lap number 1, Crowder takes the lead. Just behind him, it's Timmy Holmes and Jay Jensen. Those cars battling side by side for position. But out front, Jackson Crowder leads. Crowder out front. Now it looks like Jay Jensen has moved into the 2nd spot. A little bit of internet lag creating some problems here. It is Crowder, Jensen, looks like Holmes. Boy, somebody running from the low side to the high side. Cars all over the place in the back. As Holmes gets shuffled back, he's now in 4th. Preston Sparks will move into the 3rd spot. Jay Jensen 2nd. Jackson Crowder 1st. Caleb Hall will be back into the 5th. So the top 5, Crowder, Jensen, Sparks, Holmes, and Hall. As we complete lap number 1, we are now in lap 2 at Iowa. Jackson Crowder leads the field back to the stripe. He'll lead lap number 2. It's Crowder, Jensen, Spark, Holmes, and Hall. Greg Smith has moved into 5th. Johnson into 6th now as Caleb Hall has been shuffled back to the 7th spot. Out front, Jackson Crowder leads, and a bit more internet lag creating some problems. Crowder out front. Jensen in second. Sparks third. That's the 32. The 67 of Timmy Holmes is in fourth. Showing up in fifth, that is Greg Smith. Greg Smith in that 104 modified. Jackson Crowder keeping that modified right on the yellow line. The cars are lined up nose to tail. It's Crowder, Jensen, Sparks, and Holmes. Jackson Crowder running a flawless race early. We are on lap 4 of 35. Crowder continuing to hold on to the lead. He's got Jay Jensen giving a little look to the inside. No dice there. Preston Sparks looks to the outside. Also no dice. The 67 of Holmes trying to pull in on these 4 cars. A small gap now has developed between Holmes and the 104 car of Greg Smith. Smith has fallen back ever so slightly as we have a 4-car breakaway for the lead. Aaron Johnson trying to find his way around Smith. Out front, it is still Jackson Crowder. Crowder, Jensen, Sparks, and Holmes run 1, 2, 3, 4. Holmes gets a little high, maybe looking to get a run and find his way around Preston Sparks, and he has. Preston Sparks now shuffled back to the 4th spot. Top 2 still Crowder and Jensen. It's Crowder, Jensen, Holmes, Sparks, Smith, Johnson. Then behind Johnson's Caleb Hall. Behind Hall, Justin Kreiner. The top 7 running single file at Iowa. That's Timmy Holmes looking to the inside of Jay Jensen. No dice there. Jackson Crowder holds on to the lead. It's Crowder, Jensen, Holmes, Sparks, then Smith and Johnson. Jackson Crowder leads the field back to the line. We've completed 7 laps, 1/5 of the way through. Johnson has begun to look to the outside. It looks like Justin Kreiner has gone by Aaron Johnson. That'll shuffle Johnson back into the 8th spot. As it's Crowder, Jensen, Holmes, Sparks, then Smith. Then looks like Caleb Hall, then Aaron Johnson. Johnson shuffled back to 7th. Kreiner in 8th. Christopher Terry running 9th with Nicholas Burlow running 10th. Then David Wilson, Dwayne Elliott, and Kyle Crane rounding out the field. It is now a 3-car breakaway as Crowder, Jensen, and Holmes have begun to pull away ever so slightly from the 32 of Preston Sparks. Behind Sparks, it's Smith and Hall fighting for position. Johnson biding his time with Justin Kreiner glued to Johnson's back bumper. 10 laps into a 35-lap feature, Jay Jensen looks to the inside of Jackson Crowder. Can't make the pass. Crowder holds on. Jensen right on Crowder's bumper as they come into turn 3, now through 3 and 4. It looks like the 67 of Timothy Holmes tries to look to the inside of Jensen. Again, no dice. Johnson now shuffled up as Justin Kreiner makes a pass. Aaron Johnson shuffled back to 8th. These 8 cars here, or 9 cars really, no, 8 cars running very close. It is Crowder, Jensen, Holmes, Sparks, then a little gap to Smith, Hall, Kreiner, and Johnson. Johnson slides way up the racetrack. Aaron Johnson in danger of losing the draft here, as it looks like Caleb Hall's beginning to look to the inside of Greg Smith. Crowder in the 54 continues to hold on to the lead. Jackson Crowder pulls the field down the back straightaway. Jay Jensen looks to the outside, now back to the inside. Timmy Holmes also there. A small gap back to the 32 of Sparks. It's Crowder, Jensen, Holmes, and Sparks. Then a gap to Greg Smith in the 104. Johnson now looking to the outside of Justin Kreiner. Jackson Crowder leads the field, holds on to the lead over Jensen. It's Crowder, Jensen, Holmes, and Sparks, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those cars nose to tail down the back straightaway and into turn number 3. Crowder keeping that GTR Simulations car glued to the yellow line, gets a little bit of a run off of turn 4, comes to the stripe. We're on lap 14 of 35. Crowder holds on to the lead, followed by Jensen, Holmes, and Sparks. Jensen let the car drift up a bit. Sparks tried to stick his nose in. Jensen closed the door. It really is an 8-car breakaway with Jackson Crowder hanging on to the lead. Crowder leads. Jensen second. Holmes looks to the inside of Jensen, trying to make a run on it. No dice. Preston Sparks appears to be content to allow those three top cars to battle it out. Sparks allowing them to draw away by about a car length and a half. I suppose if anything happens, that would give Sparks a little bit of a chance to react. Jay Jensen all over Jackson Crowder. Now Holmes looks to the inside as Jensen made a mistake. Jensen allows Timmy Holmes to get underneath. That's going to be the 54 up front, then the 67 of Holmes looking underneath the 02 of Jensen. Holmes makes his way by, and he's going to bring Preston Sparks with him. It is now Crowder, Jensen, Holmes, Sparks, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, Crowder, Holmes, Sparks, Jensen. Jensen shuffled back to fourth in the fifth spot. It's still Greg Smith in the 104, then Caleb Hall, Justin Kreiner, and Aaron Johnson. Johnson content to sit at the back of this lead group. We are nearing the halfway point. Jackson Crowder holds on to the lead, followed by Holmes, Sparks, and Jensen. Crowder down the back straightaway, keeping that car on the yellow line. Teammate Timmy Holmes also in the GTR simulations. Just behind, following those two, it's the 32 of Sparks, then the 02 of Jay Jensen. A slight gap back to the 104 of Smith. Behind Smith, it's Caleb Hall in the 81, then Justin Kreiner in car number 11. Johnson, somebody spins. That is Preston Sparks. Sparks, the unfortunate victim. He spins. That is going to give the lead to Crowder and Holmes. Jay Jensen is going to get shuffled back to fourth as Greg Smith will move into third, with, it looks like, Justin Kreiner in fifth. Out front, it's still Crowder and Holmes. The question is, do those two have a large enough gap to hold off this second pack, or will the draft come into play? We are at the halfway point. Crowder leads. Holmes is second. Smith third. Jensen fourth. Caleb Hall running in fifth, with Kreiner sixth and Johnson now in the seventh spot. Out front, Crowder and Holmes continue to lead. They seem to be extending the lead somewhat over the 104 of Greg Smith. Crowder 1, Holmes 2. Those cars nice and smooth, drafting tight. That draft helping pull those two cars around as Crowder and Holmes pull away from the 104 of Greg Smith. Behind Smith, it's Jensen, then Hall. Aaron Johnson has made his way past the 11 of Justin Kreiner. Up front, Crowder and Holmes working together to try to extend the lead over the 104 of Greg Smith. Smith, Jensen, and Hall working together. Johnson and Kreiner now side by side again as Justin Kreiner has worked his way back underneath the 00 of Aaron Johnson. It's two cars, Crowder and Holmes, then three cars, Smith, Jensen, and Hall, then two more, Johnson and Kreiner, then the rest of the field a significant distance back. This time by, there will be 13 laps to go. Jackson Crowder leads. Jay Jensen has managed to work his way under the 104 of Greg Smith. Jensen trying to complete the pass on the 104 of Smith. And it looks like he's probably going to get it done. A little bit of internet lag. He has gotten it done. And he's going to bring Caleb Hall along in the 81. The 11 of Justin Kreiner also closing in on these cars, as is the 00 of Johnson. Johnson looking to the outside of Kreiner. No dice. Good racing back here for third spot as Jay Jensen makes his way past, and he brings Caleb Hall with him. Kreiner now looks to the inside of the 104 of Smith. Smith manages to dive back into an opening there, and these five cars are back in line. Out front, it is still the 54 of Jackson Crowder, with the 1 of Timmy Holmes just behind. That's the 67 of Timmy Holmes just behind. Behind them, it's Jensen in the 02, then Caleb Hall in the 81, Greg Smith in the 104, Kreiner in the 11, and Johnson in the 00. Jackson Crowder has run nearly a flawless race. There will be 10 to go this time by. Crowder leads. Holmes is second. Jensen is third, but Caleb Hall is looking to Jensen's inside. Hall tries to get a wheel underneath. Greg Smith goes to the outside in the 104. Now the 11 of Kreiner goes to the inside. Johnson goes to the outside. They are three wide. And it looks like Kreiner's going to get by. That'll leave Caleb Hall on the inside. Now Hall goes to the inside of the 11. Hall and the 11 touch just a slight amount. They're 3 wide coming to the line. And at the line, it'll be Smith in 4th, Kreiner in 5th, Hall in 6th, and Johnson in 7th. Johnson now ducks back in line as Hall goes underneath the 11 of Justin Kreiner. Johnson looks to the inside, now looks back to the outside, trying to get some momentum as they come through turn number 3. It's the 81 of Caleb Hall is trying to make the pass on Kreiner as they come back to the stripe. Hall will be in 5th, just ahead of Kreiner. It'll be Hall, Kreiner, then Johnson out front. It is still the 54 of Jackson Crowder being followed by the 67 of Timmy Holmes, the 2 GTR Simulations cars running 1-2. Behind Holmes, it's the 02 of Jensen, then Smith and Hall. Let's take a look at the field. Up front, the 54 of Crowder is shown as first, the 67 of Holmes in second. Behind them, that's the 02 of Jay Jensen in third, the 104 of Greg Smith in fourth, the 81 of Caleb Hall in fifth, then the 11 of Kreiner in sixth, and the 00 of Johnson running seventh. Behind them on the speedway, it's the 10 of Nicholas Burlow in eighth. Behind him, the 32 of Sparks in ninth. And then behind Sparks is Christopher Terry in the 29. Sorry, that's David Wilson in the 29. Then the Ryko machine of Kyle Crane in 12th and Dwayne Elliott in 13th. That's Dwayne Elliott running in the, that's the 13 of Christopher Terry. He's gotten shuffled all the way back now to the 13th spot. Sorry, so to the 12th spot. And then in 13th, that's the 12 of Dwayne Elliott. Behind Elliott, we're back around to the 54 of Jackson Crowder. 5 laps left in this race. It's Crowder 1, Holmes 2. Behind those two cars, Jay Jensen in the 02s trying to hold off the 81 of Caleb Hall and the 104 of Greg Smith, with Justin Kreiner and Johnson battling it out for the 6th spot. 4 laps to go. We're going to stick to this race as these cars are all over the racetrack. Jay Jensen continuing to hold on to the 3rd spot. It looks like Caleb Hall maybe has made his way past the 104 of Smith. Behind Smith, it's Kreiner. Johnson looks to the high side of Kreiner as they come down the front straightaway. There'll be 3 to go next time by. Crowder continues to hold on to the lead. Timmy Holmes in second. Up front, the lead remains unchanged. It's Holmes and Crowder. Crowder 1, Holmes 2. Then Jensen in 3. 3 to go. There'll be 2 to go this time by. Jay Jensen holds the car down low. Now it looks like Caleb Hall gets the inside. He spins Jensen. Those two cars get together. Everybody straightens back out. Aaron Johnson takes the low line through. Johnson's going to move into the 4th spot, it looks like. He's trying to get a wheel underneath Hall. Can't quite get it done. It's going to be Crowder, Holmes, Jensen. No, Crowder, Holmes, Johnson. Crowder, Holmes, Hall, Johnson probably. Then Jensen and Greg Smith. There's 1 to go, and it looks like Timmy Holmes is trying to make a move on Jackson Crowder. Holmes coming out of turn number 3. Looks like he's going to make the pass. They're going to come to the stripe side by side, and at the line it's going to be Timmy Holmes with the win. That second pack is going to be led across by Caleb Hall, with Aaron Johnson finishing up 4th, Jay Jensen in the 5th spot, Greg Smith 6th, and Justin Kreiner in 7th. The last group to come across, the 6 of Kyle Crane is going to be 8th. David Wilson will be in 9th. Wilson in the 29. Preston Sparks will come home 10th in the 32 car. Then Christopher Terry, Dwayne Elliott, and Nicholas Burlow. Timmy Holmes sneaks in to take the win from Jackson Crowder on the last lap. It's an exciting finish from Iowa Speedway. For the Johnson iRacing team on the Johnson iRacing Network, this is Aaron Johnson saying, go fast, turn left, have fun.